The next one was Planet of Vampire Women, and that one we did, much like the last movie, Badass Monster Killer, we did both of those all on sets, like 100% on sets or on green screen, all in warehouses.
So this was a little more ambitious.
Well, yeah, we're like, we can go to outer space. No big deal. We don't have Star Trek. We can make this happen.
So a little bit more planned out, a little bit more budget?
A little bit more budget. I'd say we here's one of the things that we do, which I don't know if I can recommend it or not, but we kind of like, okay, we need this much money to make the movie. But the reality is we're going to make it anyway. If we don't raise that much, we're still going forward. It's just going to take longer for us to do it. And so I think we tried to raise $50,000 on Planet. We ended up raising like $30,000. So
like Indiegogo?
Well, we do LLCs and do actual investors as well as crowdfunding, and then we do live show fundraiser. We do like whatever it takes, and it's like you call everybody you know with a business. Hey, you want to be a sponsor? You want to feed us this day on set? You want to do this? Yeah. And what was fun about both Badass and Planet of the Vampire Women too is there were places for advertising in the movie, so we were able to sell a little bit of that. Like in the Vampire Women, there's like the space station at the beginning that's got all these billboards on it and stuff. So there's like all this like M&M printing is on there, and Hoppy Brewing, and all these random like Sacramento businesses on the space station, which is kind of fun. And somebody's wishing their wife a happy anniversary, and stuff like that. And it's like that works, whatever, wherever you get the money to make it happen. Yeah. And then in Badass, which was our last movie, we that's all of the exteriors are all CG. So we have this. Before we go to Badass. Oh wait, sorry, I'm jumping.
So the life of the Vampire Women.
Oh god, that's a distribution horror story. Let's talk about that. So with that, we signed with two different distributors again, a domestic one and an international. And it got out there and stuff. Unfortunately, both of those companies we signed with, within 6 months of signing a deal, went out of business. And the one just like, the dude went to South America or something, and like everybody, we ended up making a whole bunch of friends on the internet that also got screwed by this company. Okay. Everybody's like, "What do we do?" And we end up going straight to the wholesaler and going, "Dude, what can we do about this?" He's like, "I don't know. Here's this guy's email." We tried to get a hold of him for months, and he's in Central America or South America or whatever. Oh no, he's sick. I'm like, but dude, he owes us all money. Yeah. We haven't got any accounting.
How did you find these distributors? Did they find you?
Again, just we find it on the internet and just start sending out query letters and screeners to everybody, and see if anybody bites. And 90% of the people don't even respond. Okay. It's kind of it's disheartening to say the least. But it's like, I'm a champ. We'll keep doing it.
So
we ended up. I know that Aaron mentioned the name of Jonathan Morkin last time you guys met. Morkin knows a lot about distribution. In fact, you guys should talk to him at some point. But he was doing distribution a lot at the time, and he knew the guys at MVD, which was the wholesaler. Okay. And so he was able to put us in touch with that guy directly. Okay. And we're like, what's up with this? You guys are handling our movie. It's out there, but we can't get any information from anybody because they're a third party. He can't really just, give us what?
What does the wholesaler do?
They're the guys that take the movie from the distributor and get it into stores. Okay, they're like the
Walmart.
Yes, they're the guy, the in-between guys that actually take it and get it into everything.
Do they sell online, or they just supply it to people that sell online?
Yeah, I think so. And MVD was always one of the biggest. Again, so much has changed recently in distribution, so it's hard to keep up. But MVD was, for many, many, many years, was one of the leaders in music and video distribution. Okay. So, and we ended up getting in touch with that guy and getting a runaround, and we had to send a letter from the lawyer, and the guy never signed it, but there was a clause in it that if we haven't heard back from you in a year, then all rights revert back to us. Okay. And stuff. And so we waited that year, and it's like, okay, now we have our rights back. What do we do with it now, And you talk to other distributors, and they're like, well, that movie's old. We don't want it now. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, whatever. So it was definitely a learning thing, because both of those companies seem so upfront and legit and honest, and we had the lawyers take the contract and everything, and it was just like boom. And then the international deal, they ended up going out of business and selling their whole catalog to another company, and then we tracked them down eventually. Yeah. Okay. And we ended up getting some accounting from them and a couple of little checks here and there.
Think you would have if you hadn't tracked them down?
What's funny about it too is the company that ended up with it internationally, they had refused it originally. They were one of the companies I'd sent it to.
You're gonna take it whether you like it or not.
So they're just got it dumped on them basically. So they never, needless to say, they didn't try that hard to sell it because they weren't that interested. But we ended up finally getting all those rights back in the last year or so, and now we're like, I don't know, let's make a new movie and deal with this one later. So we'll see what ends up happening with that.
So the new movie.
Well, what about Badass? It's in between.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
that's what. Yeah.
Okay.
The new one for them.
Okay, so then we made Badass Monster Killer. And that one's currently in distribution. It's out there. We signed a contract with Wild Eye Releasing, which we whenever we get distribution deals now, we call up Jonathan, and we're like, Jonathan, give us some advice on this. These guys? What's the deal?
Did you have a better plan for budget and production, or just?
In theory, but what I find is we make all these huge plans, and then reality steps in, and it kind of derails. And as long as you get the project made somehow, that's your end goal. Right? Mm-hmm. And we're committed to that. It's like, all right.
Somehow
we're going to make this happen. Like Badass, we only raised half of the money we were trying to get for that, but we still, and so where that hurt was in post, because it was like 3/4 CG. And so Darren ended up doing all the CG work himself.
Learning how.
And learning as he
software.
went.
Yeah.
And and he would,
so real quick. So I didn't realize until I started researching this that I always thought you and Darren were like, you're married, which is cool. And then I always thought you guys were co-directing, but I guess you're more producing, he's more directing?
Yeah, I shoot and produce, and then he writes and directs primarily. And then we'll both edit, although last movie he did most of the editing because it was so much CG, and he was just like immersed in this world for like 2 years editing.
So he learned Blender, and then he learned Maya, and then he learned...
Now it's Maya Whiz.
Wow.
Made a whole damn city for the last movie.
So great. Wow.
But yeah, that was fun. And so that movie's out and about now. We're actually supposed to get our first big accounting from the distributor next month. So we'll see if we made any money or not. It's. And you found the distributor the same method? Yeah, and then when we talked with Jonathan had good and bad things to say about all the offers we were getting on it and stuff. And he said that the guys at Wild Eye were honest. They were nice. They were, they would give you checks if you made money. And we're like, that all sounds good. Let's do it.
That's the plan, right?
So yeah, we got a couple other offers, and we'd be like, that guy's pretty shady. I don't know about that one. And so we rely on Jonathan a lot for advice for that, because he's worked with a lot of these guys and has a little more knowledge, and so that's good. He's probably going to help us as a consultant on this one as well. So that'll be good. But yeah, Badass was fun. It's out and about, and we premiered that at the IMAX, so that was super fun. And that was our first foray into doing DCPs, but that worked, and it was awesome. And we actually, when we did the test there, we screened the Blu-ray and the DCP right back to back in case there was issues, and the difference is amazing.
Oh, really?
Oh, my God, yes. I had no idea. I'm like, the Blu-ray will be fine, right? But when you watch them back to back, it's just like, whoa.
What did you see?
It was just the visual was so much clearer, and the sound. The surround sound was so much better on the DCP. Right. Yeah, it was like night and day.
What a DCP is, and if you could explain what a DCP is and why.
It's how we deliver film now, I guess. Mostly, it's a digital way to do that that most theaters and stuff use. We have this sound man that we work with that's a composer, and he's one of those weird, crazy genius guys. You just let him do his thing. But he comes in one day, he's like, I know how to make a DCP. You guys want to do that? We're like, yeah.
What does DCP stand for?
Digital Cinema P.
Package. Package sounds right, yeah.
Fair enough.
I've heard it's it's doable on indie, but it's very technically intensive.
Very much, and a lot of problems apparently happen on the ingestion of the product.
And it's all in Linux and
like the first test we did at the IMAX, it didn't work. There was flaws in it, and that's why we tried the Blu-ray. But seeing them back to back, it feels like I think I know what the issue is. I think I can fix it. And we're like, let's try it, because that was a huge difference. And the guys at the IMAX were super sweet and let us come back and do another test, and it worked. And we're like, yes! So that was pretty awesome. And and then my favorite thing with distribution for Badasses, we got into the H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival with that, and we went up there last year, and that was amazing! Yeah. So that was super fun, because that was it's very Lovecraft. It's like Lovecraft meets Shaft, kind of is what the movie's like. Yeah. So at the Lovecraft Festival, it was awesome because everybody got all the jokes. Everybody knew what we were talking about. There's a lot of people watching, they're like, "What the hell was that?" You know. But those guys got it all, and it was awesome. We're like, "Whoa, these are our people."
Where was this at?
What? It was in Portland.
Portland.
Yeah.
So how often do you guys go up to go to actual festivals?
Not very often, and I kind of. I don't even like to submit usually because I hate the fees they charge. I think it's kind of, I mean, I get it from running a film festival, but I just, it's like $50 a pop a lot of times for features, and that adds up so quick. Yeah. So, but the Lovecraft one was like special in my heart. I'm like, we're doing this one. We're submitting right away. And we got in, and that was awesome.
That's cool. So it was worth going up?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We spent some time talking with Stuart Gordon that directed Reanimator.
Oh, cool.
And stuff while we were up there, and he's like, "What's your new project?" And at that time, we were trying to decide if we were going to do the giant armadillo movie or the medieval adventure movie. And Darren's like, Stuart, let me get your advice on this. Wow. He's like, "I've got these two movies I'm deciding on right now, and the one's going to be a little easier, and the one's going to be really hard." Yeah. And I'm not sure if I should just go for the easy one. And Stuart Gordon says, do the one you want to do. And if it's hard, that's fine, because it's all hard. Yeah. I'm like, that's so true. That's so true.
So that's the medieval one. It's the hard one.
Yeah, so now we're making an epic medieval adventure on micro budget.